It was a great movie, but it seemed like there was resistance to that movie.
Mel Gibson was on the Joe Rogan podcast talking about the sequel to The Passion of the Christ.
The world is currently standing still as a leaked, unedited recording from the Joe Rogan studio sends shockwaves through the very foundations of Hollywood, and what you are about to hear will change your perception of reality forever. This isn't just a podcast episode. It is a declaration of war against the global elite who have spent decades trying to bury the terrifying, supernatural truth behind the most controversial film ever made. Mel Gibson, visibly trembling, eyes bloodshot with the weight of a secret he has carried for 20 years, finally broke. He didn't just talk. He exposed a dark, jagged underbelly of the industry that makes the devil himself look like an amateur. Joe Rogan, a man who has stared into the eyes of death and conspiracy for years, was caught on a hot mic whispering, "My God, Mel, they're going to kill you for saying this." The air in that room turned ice cold as Gibson revealed that what happened on the set of The Passion of the Christ wasn't just a movie production. It was a spiritual battlefield where the physical laws of our universe simply ceased to exist. We are talking about secret societies, blood-curdling threats from high-ranking studio heads, and actual, documented miracles that the mainstream media was paid millions to suppress. If you think you know the story of this film, you are dead wrong. The real horror, the real betrayal, and the real reason Gibson was blacklisted for a decade are all buried inside a hidden vault of footage that was never meant to see the light of day, until now.
It was like, you're making this film, and the idea was that we're all responsible for this, that his sacrifice was for all mankind.
The tension in the room was so thick you could have carved it with a ritual dagger as Mel Gibson reached into his jacket and pulled out a stack of documents that looked like they had been salvaged from a fire. This was the moment the world was never supposed to see. Joe Rogan leaned back, his face a mask of pure, unadulterated shock, as Mel began to recount the first day of filming in Matera, Italy. But this wasn't about the weather or the lighting. It was about the immediate, violent pushback from an entity Gibson refuses to name, but describes only as the architect. Within hours of the first slate being snapped, Gibson's private encrypted line was flooded with text messages from a burner number that knew his exact coordinates, his daughter's school schedule, and the specific prayer he had whispered in private that morning. The message was simple: stop the sacrifice, or we will make you the offering. This wasn't a movie anymore. It was a hostage situation. Gibson revealed to Rogan that the accidents on set weren't accidents at all. He described a secret recording he made of a conversation with a high-level Vatican official who flew in under a false name to warn him that the gears of the world were turning against him.
Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage.
Yeah.
Christianity is the one religion where they'll embrace all these different religions until it comes to Christianity.
This official confessed that a secret committee within the Hollywood banking system had already earmarked $500 million to ensure The Passion was never distributed. Gibson's voice cracked as he detailed the emotional meltdown he suffered when he realized his lead actor, Jim Caviezel, was being targeted by more than just the elements. Jim wasn't just acting. Mel hissed, leaning so close to the mic the audio began to redline. He was being physically oppressed by something that didn't want his face on that screen. During the scourging scene, a leaked internal memo from the production's own security team reveals that the accidental lashings were investigated as potential sabotage. Someone had replaced the safety props with weighted, authentic replicas.
Passion, well, I was struck by lightning on the last shot of the movie. But prior to that, it was shoulder dislocation.
The betrayal came from within his own inner circle. Mel exposed a shocking twist. His own lead cinematographer at the time was allegedly reporting back to a rival studio head every single night, sending dailies to a secret server in Zurich where they were being analyzed by psychological experts to find ways to make the film mentally repellent to audiences. The level of espionage is something out of a Cold War thriller. Gibson recounted a night where he found his trailer completely tossed, his personal Bible shredded, and a single word written in blood on the mirror: silence. The social media chaos that followed the first whispers of this interview has been nothing short of a digital apocalypse. Twitter is currently a battlefield where insider leaks are popping up and vanishing within seconds. One leak, allegedly from a former editor on the film, claims there is a cursed frame in the original edit that causes literal physical illness in anyone who views it for more than 10 seconds. The industry's reaction? Absolute, panicked silence. Not a single major studio has commented, but their silence speaks volumes. Mel told Rogan that when the film finally hit theaters, the controversy was a manufactured smokescreen. They didn't hate the movie because of what it said about history, Gibson claimed. They hated it because of what it revealed about them. He then dropped a bombshell about a secret meeting at the Chateau Marmont, where 3 of the most powerful men in the world offered him a blank check for life if he would simply include a 3-minute scene that subtly subverted the entire message of the gospel. When he refused, the cancellation wasn't just professional, it was a total social excommunication. But the most disturbing part of this section of the leak involves a secret recording Gibson played for Rogan, capturing a confrontation between Mel and a legendary producer who has since been retired from the public eye. In the recording, the producer's voice is distorted, sounding almost inhuman as he screams at Mel, "You think you're a creator? You're a termite. We built this temple of entertainment, and we will not let you burn it down with your truth." Gibson's reaction on the tape is chillingly calm. He simply says, "The fire has already started." This led to a total emotional breakdown on set the next day. Jim Caviezel reportedly fell to his knees in the middle of a scene, not because the script called for it, but because he claimed he could see the audience of the future, and they were screaming for help. This is the raw, bleeding heart of the industry that they don't want you to see. The betrayal wasn't just about a movie. It was a betrayal of the human spirit. As the interview progressed, Rogan's eyes stayed glued to the monitors, showing the viral clips exploding across the internet. The Passion of the Christ fan meltdowns are reaching a fever pitch as people realize they were manipulated by the media for 20 years to think Gibson was the villain. New evidence suggests that the infamous outbursts that ruined Mel's career were actually the result of sophisticated voice cloning technology and deepfake audio that was being tested by DARPA-linked contractors as early as the mid-2000s. Gibson nodded solemnly as Rogan read a leaked email from a disgraced publicist who admitted, "We were told to make Mel the face of hate so that no one would listen to his message of love." The level of calculated betrayal is enough to make your stomach turn. Mel's own family was reportedly followed by private investigators for years, looking for any shred of dirt to keep him from ever making the sequel. But Gibson didn't break. He thrived in the shadows. He told Rogan that the blacklisting was the greatest gift he ever received because it allowed him to go completely underground to research the resurrection. And what he found in the dusty archives of the world's oldest libraries makes the first movie look like a Sunday school lesson. He revealed that he has evidence of a cosmic war that was triggered by the release of the first film, a shift in the very atmosphere of the planet that the elite are desperate to reverse. The confrontation in the studio grew even more intense when Gibson revealed that he knows exactly who was behind the lightning strikes on set. It wasn't Mother Nature, Joe. It was a technological strike. They have the weather, they have the satellites, and they tried to cook us alive on that hill. The cliffhanger? Gibson leaned in and whispered that the sequel doesn't just depict the resurrection, it contains a visual key that can actually break the psychological programming of the modern world. Just as he was about to describe this key, a red alert flashed on Rogan's console, and the internal security cameras showed a fleet of black SUVs screaming into the parking lot, their sirens silent, but their intent deadly. The SUVs hadn't even come to a full stop before the studio's internal alarm system began a low, rhythmic hum that vibrated through the very floorboards. But Mel Gibson didn't move a muscle. Instead, he looked directly into the lens of the backup camera and smirked, a chilling expression that suggested he had been expecting this exact moment of confrontation for 2 decades. Joe Rogan was frantically checking his comms, shouting to his producers to lock the reinforced steel doors, but Gibson just waved a hand dismissively, claiming that the physical world was the least of their worries because the broadcast of the century had already bypassed the standard servers and was being mirrored onto 1,000 private nodes across the globe. This was the start of the second phase of the exposure, a deep dive into the forbidden frequencies that Gibson and his team of rogue sound engineers discovered during the post-production of the first film. Mel revealed that while they were mixing the audio for the crucifixion, they began picking up interference that shouldn't exist, radio signals that sounded like weeping in a language that predates Sumerian. He played a snippet of this phantom audio for Rogan, and the reaction was instantaneous. Rogan's face contorted in physical pain, his eyes watering as he clutched his head. "What is that, Mel? It feels like my brain is being rewired." Gibson leaned in, his voice dropping into a register of pure, terrifying authority, explaining that the elite utilized low-frequency dampening in all major blockbuster films to keep the human amygdala in a state of constant, low-level fear and submission. The Passion of the Christ, however, was designed to do the opposite. Gibson admitted that he worked with a disgraced former NASA frequency specialist to embed resonant tones that actually trigger a spiritual awakening response in the human frontal lobe. This was the real reason for the industry-wide fatwa against him. It wasn't about the content, it was about the biological impact. He exposed a leaked internal memo from a massive tech conglomerate, the kind that owns both movie studios and pharmaceutical companies, stating that if the Passion was viewed by more than 30 of the global population, the compliance threshold for their future social engineering projects would drop to zero. The betrayal was total. Even his own distribution partners were reportedly paid in offshore accounts to throttle the number of screens the movie appeared on, creating a false narrative of limited interest that the box office numbers eventually obliterated. The social media landscape is currently a digital war zone, with glitch videos of the Rogan interview appearing on TikTok, showing what appears to be a distorted, shadowy figure standing directly behind Mel that only appears for a single frame at a time. Fan meltdowns have reached a breaking point as a leaked document, allegedly from a high-ranking Hollywood fixer, surfaced on a whistleblower site. This document details Operation Scapegoat, a multi-million-dollar smear campaign specifically designed to trigger Gibson's past personal struggles. The fixer claims that they used directed energy weapons to induce sleep deprivation and irritability in Gibson during his most vulnerable years, all to ensure he would implode on camera and discredit his message. The betrayal goes deeper than anyone imagined. Mel revealed that a confidential source within the Academy told him that his name was physically scrubbed from the ballots for years, regardless of the quality of his work, by a secret voting bloc known only as the Guardians of the Narrative. The emotional weight of the interview shifted as Gibson began describing the Resurrection sequel's production, which has been plagued by a level of sabotage that sounds like a supernatural thriller. He recounted a secret recording of a high-stakes phone call he intercepted between two A-list actors who were discussing how to infiltrate the new set to plant surveillance devices. They're terrified of the sequel, Joe, because the sequel doesn't just show the light. It exposes the machinery of the dark, Mel barked. He then revealed the existence of a lost reel from the original film. Footage so intense, depicting the harrowing of hell, that two of the editors reportedly quit on the spot and joined a monastery, refusing to ever speak to a member of the press again. This footage, according to Gibson, contains visual truths about the nature of evil that the human mind isn't fully equipped to process without a complete ego death. Rogan, visibly shaken and sweating, asked if the footage still existed. Gibson's response was a chilling, "It's currently being held in a lead-lined vault in a location that doesn't appear on any map." The chaos escalated when a live leak from a disgruntled studio janitor showed a hidden room in a major Hollywood studio filled with anti-Passion propaganda from 2004 that was never released. Disgusting, AI-enhanced posters and mock-up articles meant to link the film to various extremist groups. The Twitter war has now moved into the real world, with reports of massive crowds gathering outside Rogan's studio, some in support, others seemingly there to shut it down under the guise of noise complaints. Mel's composure remained unshakable as he pulled up a secret message from his own phone, a text from an unlisted number received just 5 minutes prior. It read, "We can see the reflection in the window. Turn off the lights or we turn them off for you." Instead of complying, Mel told Joe to turn the lights up. "Let them see," he whispered. The era of shadows is over. Gibson then dropped a revelation that made the lightning strikes on the first set look like a sparkler. He claimed that the supernatural healings on set were being monitored by a clandestine group of science monks who work for the global elite to study how faith-based anomalies can be weaponized or neutralized. He described a confrontation he had with a man in a gray suit who approached him in Rome, offering him the keys to the kingdom if he would just hand over the raw metadata from the resurrection scene. When Gibson refused, the man allegedly told him, "We've waited 2,000 years to control this story, Mel. You're just a speed bump in history." This led to a total meltdown on the podcast as Rogan realized the scale of the conspiracy. This wasn't just about movies. It was about the very architecture of human belief and who gets to hold the blueprint. As the second part of the interview neared its climax, the insider leaks began to turn personal. A secret recording of a family meeting from years ago was leaked, showing Mel being pleaded with by friends to just apologize and join the fold to save his career. Mel's voice on the tape was like thunder. "I'd rather burn in the truth than reign in a lie." The celebrity reactions started pouring in on Instagram, with several high-profile stars posting cryptic black squares, a signal of their allegiance to the silent majority of Hollywood that is too afraid to stand with Gibson. The pressure was mounting, the SUVs were circling, and the studio's power began to flicker rhythmically, a clear sign of an impending technical failure. The cliffhanger that left the audience screaming for more was when Gibson leaned over Rogan's desk, grabbed the headphones off Joe's head, and whispered directly into the microphone a series of coordinates followed by a date just 3 weeks away. "That is where the veil officially tears," Gibson said, his eyes glowing with a fervor that was both inspiring and terrifying. The resurrection isn't just a movie release. It's a global synchronization event, and they've sent their cleaners to stop me from giving you the final key. Just as he said the word key, the heavy steel doors of the studio began to groan as if being pulled from their hinges by an invisible, massive force, and the screen cut to a system error message that stayed for exactly 33 seconds before the feed flickered back to a shot of an empty chair where Mel Gibson had been sitting. The silence in the studio after the system reboot was a vacuum of terror, but as the camera lens refocused, Mel Gibson wasn't gone. He was standing in the shadows of the corner, holding a physical film canister that looked like it had been buried in the Holy Land for centuries. Joe Rogan was breathing like a man who had just escaped a high-speed collision, his hands trembling as he checked the perimeter feed on his tablet, only to see the black SUVs frozen in place, their drivers standing outside like statues, staring up at the studio windows. "They can't come in, Joe," Gibson whispered, his voice vibrating with a frequency that made the studio's expensive microphones hiss with static. The moment I revealed the coordinates, the protection changed. "We aren't just recording a podcast, we're broadcasting a spiritual EMP." This was the final, most explosive movement of the leak, the revelation of the Third Day Protocol. Gibson exposed that the sequel to The Passion contains a sequence filmed using light capture technology that shouldn't exist, a prototype stolen from a deep black government lab that allows for the filming of the auric field surrounding biological entities. He claimed that when they filmed the resurrection scene, the camera captured something so bright, so physically impossible, that the digital sensors in the 500,000 lenses literally melted into slag. The betrayal shifted from the studios to the very fabric of global governance as Gibson pulled up a leaked, encrypted message from a high-ranking member of a European royal family. The message, dated only 3 days prior, offered Mel diplomatic immunity and a sovereign estate if he would agree to edit out exactly 44 seconds of the new film. The 44 seconds that reportedly show the true face of the entities that have been steering human history from the darkness. Gibson's refusal was met with an immediate, coordinated strike on his personal finances. He revealed to a gasping Rogan that every single one of his accounts was locked for internal review the moment he stepped into the Austin studio. This was total financial warfare. "They want to starve the truth," Mel roared, slamming the film canister onto the desk. "But you can't starve a man who has already died to his own ego." The social media reaction turned into a literal digital riot as the hashtag The Great Awakening began to merge with hashtag Gibson Exposed. with viral clips showing the lights in major cities like New York and London flickering in the same rhythmic pattern Mel had just described as the resurrection pulse. The Twitter war escalated into a full-scale celebrity meltdown as an A-list action star, known for his ties to a specific controversial organization, posted a frantic, tear-streaked video claiming that Gibson was triggering a global psychotic break. But the fans weren't buying it. A leaked, internal memo from a major social media platform surfaced, showing a direct order from the CEO to shadow ban any account mentioning the coordinates Mel gave. This sparked a massive digital exodus, with millions of users moving to decentralized platforms to keep the leak alive. Gibson then dropped the most heartbreaking betrayal of all. He revealed a secret recording of a private confession from a former mentor, a man who taught him everything about filmmaking, who admitted he had been planted in Mel's life 30 years ago by a secret society specifically to act as a handler and steer him away from religious subjects. The emotional breakdown on Gibson's face was raw and agonizing. He looked like a man who had realized his entire professional life was a Truman Show-style construct designed to keep him from his ultimate mission. Rogan, pushed to the edge of his rational mind, asked about the secret of the shroud that Mel had alluded to in the dark web trailers. Gibson's response was a cinematic bombshell. He claimed they had obtained a microscopic sample of the Shroud of Turin and discovered that the blood on it wasn't just human. It contained a genetic sequence that is currently activating in the DNA of people watching the leaked footage. It's a resonant trigger, Joe. The movie is the key, and the audience is the lock. The celebrity reactions turned from fear to outright hostility as a group of Oscar-winning directors issued a joint statement calling for Gibson's immediate psychological detention for the sake of public safety. This sparked an explosive confrontation on air when a whistleblower from the LAPD called into the show's private line, claiming they had been ordered to stand down and allow a private security force to breach the studio. The sound of a helicopter hovering directly above the building drowned out the audio for 10 seconds of pure, heart-stopping suspense. When the audio returned, Gibson was laughing, a wild, triumphant sound that echoed like a bell. They're too late. The metadata is in the cloud. It's in the hearts of the people. He then revealed the final betrayal, a leaked video from a 2004 Elite Summit, where a group of billionaires laughed about how they were going to use the controversy of the first film to justify a global crackdown on unauthorized religious expression. They had used Mel's masterpiece as a Trojan horse for their own authoritarian agenda, and Mel had spent 20 years playing the fool just to get close enough to pull the plug on their entire operation. The social media chaos reached a point of no return as insider leaks began showing high-ranking politicians fleeing to underground bunkers as the Gibson coordinates began to glow on satellite imagery. The energy in the studio was electric, almost radioactive. Mel reached out and grabbed Rogan's hand, looking him dead in the eye. "Joe, they told you I was crazy because I saw the bars of the cage. Now, I'm showing the world how to melt the locks." He revealed that the Resurrection film doesn't have a traditional ending. It ends with a live feed capability that will broadcast the same spiritual frequency to every screen on Earth simultaneously, bypassing all censorship. This is the God machine the elite feared. The betrayal of the industry was now a footnote. This was the betrayal of the false reality itself. As the studio doors finally began to buckle under the weight of the cleaners outside, Mel played one last secret recording, a message from his lead actor, Jim Caviezel, recorded just that morning. Jim's voice was calm, serene, and terrifyingly certain. "Tell them the lion isn't just out of the cage, Mel. Tell them the lion is the cage." The final cliffhanger was a masterstroke of dramatic tension. As the sirens grew deafening and the studio glass began to spiderweb from a sonic frequency being beamed at the building, Mel Gibson stood up and handed Joe Rogan a small, glowing USB drive. "If they take me, Joe," you hit enter. It's the unedited 24-hour cut of the underworld sequences. It will end their world and start ours. Rogan looked at the drive, then at the door, then back at the camera, his finger hovering over the upload button on his console. The screen started to pixelate. The audio distorted into a chorus of ancient chanting. And just as a flashbang grenade shattered the silence, The feed cut to a black screen with a single, ticking timer counting down to the date Mel had whispered. The world was left in a state of absolute, shivering addiction to the truth, realizing that the passion was just the prologue to a war that has finally, officially, reached our doorsteps. This is the moment that defines our generation. The moment where the wall between entertainment and absolute reality has been torn down by a man who refused to be silenced. If you can feel your heart pounding, if you can feel the truth vibrating in your very bones, then you know you cannot walk away from this. This is a call to arms for the digital age. The global elite are at this very second trying to scrub this video from the servers, trying to make you forget what Mel Gibson just sacrificed everything to tell you. Do not let them win. If you value your freedom, if you value the truth, you must hit that like button right now to boost this into the algorithm before they kill the signal. Comment, "I see the light," below to show the powers that be that their psychological warfare has failed. And most importantly, you must subscribe and turn on all notifications immediately, because we are the only ones left with a direct line to the leaked resurrection files. Every second you wait is a second they use to tighten the noose around the truth. This is not a drill. This is the revolution. Like, comment, and subscribe now, or risk being left in the darkness forever. The timer is ticking. Join the resistance before the screen goes black for good.